Hi everyone, and welcome to Geometric Advanced Stock Analytics. And today we are looking at Seagate Technology Holdings. So before I get started, I have a quick disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor and nothing here is financial advice. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. But if you like deep dive analytics like this and you enjoy these types of dashboards, please hit that subscribe button because I think you'll see that this tool is really useful and will help us make smart decisions in our investing journey. All right, so let's zoom in here now and see what's going on. So, like you'll see in my first video, which I put a link in the description below, which kind of describes this tool in greater detail about what each of these metrics mean. We're going to look at the same stock over two periods, and we're going to see how that stock is comparing over those two periods, if it's improving or if it's getting worse and whatnot. The first metric that we're going to compare is the threshold outperformance index right here. And so basically what that is we measure how much a stock needs to win to go up to have a positive trend, and then we compare it to how much it's actually winning. We get these percentages by looking at the average up and the average down of the stock over that period. We can see that Seagate Technology from this initial period right here didn't win quite enough to have an upward trend. So it got a score of 99.3%. If we look at the same stock in period 2, we can see that the actual win frequency was 54.8%, and that was much higher than its threshold win frequency to break even of 46.1%. So there was a dramatic improvement there between those two periods. Next, what we want to look at is our stability score. So how I measure this is I look at days above 3% positive change and days below a negative 3% decrease. And so we see that 6.4% of the days are above 3% and 5.4% of the days are below negative 3%. That's all in period 1. So when you get the stability score out of those two factors, you'll see it came up to 88.2%. So it's a little bit of a volatile stock, jumping around a bit more than you'd want if you don't have the intestinal fortitude for that type of thing. Also, if we look at period 2, it had 8.6% days above 3% and then 4.5% days below negative 3%. So it didn't get any more stable in this period 2 where it performed better, but it's still quite a volatile stock. So let's get those lines out of there. And if we escape out of here, we're going to zoom in again, but we're going to go right down here. So what we're looking at now is our positive trend persistence. So what this is I look at all the 5-day winning streaks and all the 5-day losing streaks, and then calculate what percent of those total streaks are the winning kind. So here we see we got 8 5-day winning streaks and 12 5-day losing streaks. So only 40% of their streaks in period 1 are winning streaks. And then we look at that data in period 2 and we see that it has increased to 60%. So there's definitely been like a switch in this stock as far as the positive trend persistence. The next one thing we're going to look at is the percent chance of a future winning trend. So this is my favorite metric of the bunch and the one that I really use to highlight stocks that could be a potential buy for me in my portfolio. So let's back out a little bit. I'm going to do that and I'm going to escape out of here. And let's look at this first chart right here. We're looking at this guy right here. So what this chart is, it's actually the threshold outperformance index, but it's plotted on a 51-day rolling average, whereas our threshold outperformance index over here was based on the entire period that was indicated above here. So it's like an average of the whole period, but this chart is a plot of a 51-day rolling average, which is very informative to see where the stock is going. So as we see this plot of how often this stock is winning versus how much it needs to win, the trend line is definitely having an increase in the right direction. It's a positive increase. If it's above this line here, this 1, this line right here, this means it's winning more than it needs to. And so you can see that over time during this first period, the threshold outperformance index is getting continuously better for Seagate Technology Holdings. And then we go look over in our next period, period 2, which is basically the last year, and we can see that it continually gets a lot better as well. So it's improving. The trend line is going up for sure, and it's really performing well here. So how is it I'm getting these values over here? So basically what I am doing is I look at this trend line here that I'm creating from both charts. I look at all the data points on the chart and calculate a standard deviation. And that means from this last data point here, and based on the standard deviation, I can determine a statistical likelihood of a continued positive trend. And that's exactly what I've done down here. So based on those numbers, in period 1, there was a 90.5% chance of a continued positive trend. And in period 2, there is a 98.8% chance of a continued positive trend. Not surprised here, Seagate Technology Holdings came out with their earnings report yesterday, and they really impressed investors, and so the price took a nice jump yesterday. So the stock has been on a positive trend for a while, and it looks like that's going to continue. Let's just run through the rest of the charts here. You see on this chart here, we have the win percentage. So if we're comparing to this side of the chart over here, we can see that it's an upward trend for sure, and we're at about 55% by the end of period by the end of period 1, and then for period 2, it continued to go up, and it got up to around 60% according to the trend line, continuing to go up. So stock is improving for sure. The orange line here is the average up over the average down based on a 51-day rolling average. So you'd like to see it above 100%. That means the up days are bigger than your down days. And so anything above this green line here is good. And so we can see the trend. The trend is good, and it looks great there. And then let's look over here in our period 2. We can see that's a much steeper line. And it crosses over the 100% threshold right here, and then it keeps going up and up and up and up, and it's approaching 200%. That the up days are twice as big as the down days. And so this is a stock that's really performing well. They are into data storage, and there's lots of data to be stored during this AI boom. I can't see that. Like who's to say what's actually going to happen? Looks like there's going to be data storage needs for a long time to come. But that's just what it seems like. Who knows for sure? All right, let's scroll down a little bit. So if we escape out of there, we're going to scroll down to these last 2 charts down here. Let me just see if it goes there. That's a good, one more should be, but there we go. All right, let's get my pen in here again. These RSI charts are for momentum investing. It's an equation to determine if a stock has been oversold or overbought, and that can be an indicator that it's ready to go in the other direction. It's ready to pop back and increase, or it's ready to have a pullback. And so in period 1, you can see how the trend was for the RSI, and then RSI in period 2, the number is up here right now. That near the overbought line, but sometimes when there's hype around stock, they can stay close to that overbought line for a long time. You can see here, Seagate's been on the upper part of this chart for a while. Let's get that out of there. And then finally, we want to look at the price per share. You can see during this first period, there was a dip, and then it came back. And then for the second period, it kind of leveled off, and then things really started to take off. The company really started to do well, and the stock price showed it. And so it's been a positive experience lately for shareholders of Seagate Technology. And so let's scroll right back up to the top to show you one more thing. I'll get my pen back here. This stock is also very interesting. I have over 5,000 stocks in my drop-down menu here to analyze, and when I look at all of them, there's maybe 25 or 30 that qualify as very interesting based on these 2 periods here. This is my most common periods that I look at. And so, yeah, so Seagate Technology is a very interesting stock to look at. So it's before making any purchases, make sure you do your own research. Of course, as I end off this presentation, I'll put that disclaimer out again. Everything in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not financial advice, and I am not a licensed financial advisor. Always do your own research or consult a professional before making any investment decisions. All right, so that's everything for Seagate Technology Holdings. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this video and you want to see more. And I'll talk to you guys later.